Hi Year 2, today we're going to be looking at science. Now over the last few weeks we've been looking at habitats and what do we call home, and today we're going to look at a very small habitat. So we're looking at mini beasts and micro habitats. So what I'd like you to do is watch the film, take it in, it's a really good film, and then go to the next slide. So, micro habitats around us. What does the word micro mean? There we go. Micro means small. So, where else might you have heard the word micro? Microscope, so you're looking at very small things. Microwave, which is a little bit more technical, but it's very small waves making things hot. Micro scooter, because it's not a big scooter, it's a little scooter. And a micro SD card, something you might put in a phone or an old-fashioned camera to take photographs on and use as memory, but it means it's very small. All of these things are really tiny, so as you'd expect, a micro habitat is a very small habitat where you might find some very special animals. So, some of the habitats are very big, like a woodland, and some habitats are very small. And you may find a micro habitat in a very big space. So in a woodland, you may look underneath a log and find lots of little insects, just like the man did on the video. So a large habitat can contain many micro habitats. Here are some different micro habitats that you might have found or seen in your local environment. So, like in the video, the man lifts up the rotting piece of wood and there's lots of little bugs and insects underneath. In tall grass or flowers, in and on the soil, under fallen leaves. I'm sure we've all kicked over fallen leaves and seen worms and wood lice and all sorts of things. If you carefully lift up stones, you can often find insects underneath that, and in short grass as well. A mini beast is a very small creature or insect, like a worm or a spider, something like that, and many different mini beasts live in many different microhabitats. They are suited to live in those microhabitats because, like we've seen in the Arctic or the desert, they have adapted what they look like, what they eat or what they do to the habitat that they live in. Also, mini beasts help to keep the microhabitat healthy. So for example, worms, they dig holes in dirt, which allows liquid and water to get into them, and air as well, so it makes the soil a lot better. Caterpillars, they like to live on the top and underneath leaves. That's so that they can use their camouflage to blend in, and we know that camouflage protects animals from predators. Ants, they mostly live underground in big families. I'm sure we've all picked up a stone or a slab and seen lots and lots of ants underneath. Well, they live underground and they dig lots and lots of tunnels, and there's lots and lots of them in their habitat. They also eat lots of insects, and they don't have ears. They hear things by feeling vibrations through their feet. Worms, as I've said, they like to eat dirt and leaf matter, and they also make holes in the soil to allow air to get in and water. Always very good for a gardener, they are, on your lawn. Spiders, oh, I don't like spiders, but they can live just about anywhere. When the weather gets colder, they like to find shelter, which is why when winter comes, you find lots of spiders in your house. Not that pleasant, but they're okay. They're the good guys. They get rid of flies and horrible flying insects that you might not want in your house. So never kill a spider. If you find one in your house, pop a jar over it, put it back into the garden. Ladybirds. They like to live in shrubs and on branches and on flowers. And when the weather gets cold, they hide in tree stumps, under rocks and under leaves. That's why you don't see them in the winter. They huddle together to keep warm and they hibernate till spring. It's not very often that you'll see them do it, but when you do, it's amazing. So we're looking at microhabitats, and what I'd like you to do with an adult is go outside and find a microhabitat, just like the man did in the video. Be really careful not to hurt anything. We are only observing. We're just looking. So using the sheet on the next page, I'd like you to note down where you found the habitat, what you found there, and 5 adjectives to describe the habitat. For example, where was the microhabitat? In my garden under a slab. What was living there? There were 2 woodlice, 1 beetle, 5 ants and a slug. And what was the habitat like? 5 adjectives. So the habitat was damp, it was dark, it was cold, it was moist, and it was dirty. Now that for us wouldn't be a nice habitat, but for these guys, they love it there. Use that sheet, go outside with an adult and have a go at doing the task, see what you can find. So, now you've been in the garden or outside and you've had a look for a microhabitat, did you see any of these mini beasts there? Did you see any spiders or ants, worms, wasps maybe, woodlice, ladybirds? Did you see anything that wasn't there? Come on. There we go. So next we need to look at the microhabitats and count up each type of mini beast we saw to give us an idea of how many different ones there are. So on these sheets we can write down, as we've been doing, a pictogram. So we've been doing pictograms in maths. So if we did more than one habitat, we could put how many woodlice we found in habitat 1, and then how many woodlice we found in habitat 2. And you could draw a little woodlouse, however many you found. Might be a bit difficult when you get to ants, because if there's hundreds and hundreds of ants, you might struggle. You could also do a tally chart, which might make things a little easier. So outside I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 woodlice. Have a go at filling those forms out and see how you get on. Again, we could do a cutout, but I think it's probably okay with the other one, but we could cut out how many woodlice we found and pop them in the woodlice column. How many slugs we found and pop them in the slug column. And just see how many we find in each microhabitat. So as I've said before, you could create the table, pop it in your book. You can either draw the woodlice or the slugs, or we could do a tally chart on that. Again, that's the paperwork for that. Thank you very much for your time here too. Hope you enjoy getting in the garden, getting outside and looking for some microhabitats.